Hi, I want to thank you all for being a part of our Caldwell County Schools remote learning program. Our instructional facilitators and the EPS leadership team has been working very diligently over the last few days to put a plan together. You're going to see a model, you're going to see many resources, and we hope that you're able to use what you learn to be able to put together training and learning for our students in the weeks to come. Again, we know this is a very trying time. We have a lot of questions that need to be answered. We hope this provides some structure and resources that will allow you to do your work as we move forward. Again, thank you for your patience, for understanding, and as always, we want to thank you for all that you do.
All right, Leanne, could you share a little bit about the expectations for Caldwell County Schools?
Sure. Caldwell County Schools has created a remote learning plan that provides expectations for teachers. If you have not received this information, you will do so following this presentation. So this remote learning plan basically is a guideline of what those expectations are on a daily basis. So approximately 8 to 9 o'clock, there are specifics as far as getting started with your day, making sure that all students have access to their assignments, their activities by 9 o'clock a.m. From 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock noon each Monday through Friday, teachers will need to be available and hold office hours to communicate with students and parents via whichever learning platform you have selected virtually. Also, you also maybe use other devices such as Class Dojo or phone, whatever your school may already have set up. From 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, that would be a planning opportunity. There are many things that still need to be done after that time. We expect that there are 2 positive phone calls made to each student a week. Also, there are professional development options and plans that will be made available to you. Also, we expect that you could have some virtual or collaborative PLC meetings or some type of a faculty-based meeting if that's necessary. There are PowerSchool reporting activities. There are many other things that can be done and must be done during those times because school is going to be as normal. Those expectations will still be there. So again, those teacher work times are from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and this document provides some of those specific examples. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Hangouts Meet. It's actually what we're using to record this presentation for you. So the reason I want to talk about Hangouts Meet is, Leanne mentioned that you want to have meetings with your students, schedule meetings, and even some PLCs with your grade level team, or maybe even other teachers in other schools to kind of share ideas and what's going on. So Hangout Meets is perfect. It works on smartphones. It works on any Windows device. It works on Chromebooks. You can have up to 250 people in one meeting. If you need to do a live stream, it can go up to 100,000 people, which we don't need to worry about. But the other thing is for students who can't make it or teachers who can't make it into your PLCs or your classroom meetings, you can save it and record it, and it'll be saved to your Google Drive, which allows you to share it through like Google Classroom or Class Dojo or someplace like that that you want to get it out there. It has automatic closed captioning, and it has a text chat for people who don't have a microphone and still want to interact with you during your presentation. One thing that we want to make sure is when you name your session, make it something easy. My sessions and all the facilitator sessions are going to be named after ourselves for when we do like PLCs or try to give you some assistance. Like mine will be B process CCS. Also, if you want a little bit more background on this, at the bottom of this presentation, which will be shared with you, there is a setup guide and a brief explanation video of what it is and how to go through it. And it's broken down between beginner, novice, and expert levels. So from here, Radina, can you talk about some of the remote learning resources from DPI?
Yes, so DPI released this Google site March 13th. And it is going to be linked. You'll have access to it if you haven't already received it and looked at it. I'm going to quickly go over 3 sections in here just to highlight. The instructional resources section is going to list several resources that apply to not apply to all content areas and grade bands. If you scroll down on this page, there's a lot of resources by content area and grade band. Again, we know you're inundated right now, but this is something that you can explore during those times for professional development. Also want to point out the online pedagogy. This is new to most of us. We're learning as we go. It has best practices. It has expectations for all stakeholders, including yourself, the students, and your parents and guardians. It mentions video best practices. Keep it short, make it interactive, and they love to see your face. We know we're missing our kids, but they're missing us too. Gives you some offline considerations, and then more resources, and all that was under the online pedagogy tab. And then the last tab that I want to talk to you about quickly is the learning management systems. DPI highlights two here. They highlight Canvas, and then they highlight Google Classroom. I know many of our high school teachers are familiar with Canvas. We are going to focus on Google Classroom today, and that is where Randy's going to introduce you to Google Classroom.
Hey guys, we know that some of you all are already using a learning management system that you're familiar with. Please don't change that. If you are using Canvas, already using Google Classroom, Seesaw, ClassDojo, please feel free to continue to use those programs. If you are new to a classroom, we're going to do a quick setup of how to create your classroom, because you will need that to access all these resources that we're going to share with you all. A code for that will be shared with you later. So Radina, if you'll open a new tab. To get to Google Classroom, if you click on the 9-square Google Apps icon and go to Classroom, scroll down to Classroom. If this is the first time you ever visit, you'll need to click that you are a teacher, because it gives you the ability to create a class. Once you are in Google Classroom, you will click on the plus that's in the upper right-hand corner beside the apps icon. Here's where you would join a class if you need to join a class, but we're going to create a class. You will need to give your class a name. Now you could create one class for your whole grade level if you all wanted to put all the resources for one grade level and share that with all your students. That is one way, if you're new to this, that you could operate. So go ahead and click Create, Radina. You don't have to title all the other sections, just needs a name. The first thing to get your students to join is they will need the class code, and it's listed under the title of your class. If you see where we have test, that class code is there. That's what you will need to share with your students to get them connected to your class. Now, please do not share this on a website or plan book, because that is not password protected, and that would allow anyone to join your class. So if you click on the classwork tab, to upload an assignment, you're going to click on Create. And then you can create an assignment here, which gives you the ability to give it a name. And then if you click, you can put instructions in the instructional part if you need specific instructions for students. And then on the Add button, that allows you to add files from Google Drive, a link to another website, files from your desktop or your documents, or YouTube videos. And the far right-hand side, there's some things you have to fill in, like if you want it for all students, if you want it to have a grade, if you want to put a due date, and if you create topics for your class. And then there's a rubric you can use, and the originality reports let you know if students are plagiarizing. To assign this, you've got a couple options in the upper right-hand corner. You can schedule the assignment to be at a certain date or certain time, or you can go ahead and click Assign to assign it immediately. So if you'll click Assign, and then you might, if this is your first time using Google Classroom, get some pop-ups that give you some directions. So there you see the sample assignment. You can also add your students by clicking on the People tab, and that would allow you to add in all of your assignments where it says students, click on the share button, you type in their email address, then you click invite once you have them all typed in. So there's 2 different ways to get your students signed up. And if you wanted to add a co-teacher, up in the part where it says teachers, if you click on the plus, you can add another co-teacher, and you can add as many co-teachers as you would like. Okay. So remember, this is one of many platforms that you can use. Angela is going to talk to us about Class Dojo.
All right, so lots of elementary teachers are already familiar with Classroom Dojo. So I'm going to give an overview of some possible remote learning features. There's also a link in our presentation, a video link that's about a 4-minute video overview that you can watch at your convenience. Some of the highlighted sections are the class story, which you can share photos, videos, announcements. Here is the place that you can record yourself in a video for up to 8 minutes within Classroom Dojo. But again, you can also do a Google Meet like we've already discussed and upload those videos as well. Portfolios, they're accessible via Chromebooks, laptops, iOS, Androids, pretty much any platform that we've got. So if you did choose to use the paper packets, no problem there. Have the parents take a picture with their phones and upload those pictures of the completed work. Messaging is really great because it can go out to individuals and or everybody in your classroom. And then another resource is the school story. So our kids are not just a part of our classroom, they're part of our entire school. So this kind of lets them have that connection to the school community as well. At the bottom image, the Class Dojo Help Desk is a really awesome resource. And just one that I really wanted to highlight was how to help you teach remotely. Here it has several ideas to help you get started when we're making this transition. It has ELA options, math, science, and social studies. Dawn is going to now share some other instructional resources.
Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit about what the expectations are with instructional resources. We want to keep this at a minimum of 30 or a maximum of 30 minutes per instruction work for the students per content area per day. Okay, we do have all the resources that we're trying to share with you are resources that are able to be printed so that students that don't have a digital access at home are able to utilize these resources as well. These are vetted and concise resources for you to begin with. We wanted to just share a few concise amount of resources. We know that there are so many more that you guys are used to using. Please don't stop using resources that your students are used to using. These are just for those people who are new to this. We do have a live document that we will continue to update so that you have access as we get more information and as we are able to look at resources that we would want to share with you. The thing is we want to make sure don't make a copy for yourself, or you won't have access to the live updates that we place on this document. Just make sure that you're using everything you can to integrate the instructional best practices that you know how to do throughout the week so that we can continue to engage the students in the content that we are sharing with them. And Tabitha is now going to share with us some additional resources that we have found.
So I'm going to start out with some remote learning ideas. And the first one is all teachers have access to Imagine Learning, the teacher resources portion of that program. Redina, if you'll pull up myimaginelearning.com.
You want to just talk us through it and we'll see if that loads.
Absolutely. So when it does pop up and it does load, what you're going to do is your username is your Caldwell County Schools email. There we go. Thank you. And then your password, if you've been familiar with this and you've been using it, then your password you will know. Otherwise, you can put in your email and you can click on Forgot Password. It'll send you an email and you can quickly reset it. For anybody who has not accessed this, one of the things you can do is contact your instructional facilitator, and we will be more than happy to assist in getting you in that platform. Please be aware, though, there are only certain children who have access to the activities in there, but we're looking at doing this remotely. So once you're in, at the top, there is a section that is called Teacher Resources that Redina's clicking on. And from Teacher Resources, there are two areas. There's language and there's literacy activities. So with that, you can display your desktop and you can complete an activity together online. It might be similar to something you've done in a small group setting in your classroom. The other thing that I want, you've heard us talk about is Class Dojo, Remind, or any other contact method for parents. What we're encouraging you to do is possibly to send a Google Meet invite with a code. Once your parents have that code, you set up that meeting time and they come in and they join you. So what could you do to meet the needs of direct instruction? If, as we move forward with this, one of the things is you could actually sit there and teach a letterland lesson in our K2 grades. Another example would be doing a read aloud in some type of retail activity. As we move forward, Wit and Wisdom, for those who have that could be a lesson that is taught online. When we're looking at more towards our upper grades, we could share a PDF or a video link with our students to have them do some pre-work before coming in. That way, when we do come together in the Google Meet, there is some type of comprehension activity or something that's applicable, application practice. The other thing would be modeling some type of math practices and teaching a lesson. So those are just a few of the ideas that we wanted to share with you about remote learning and what you could use. But now I'm going to turn it over to Dottie, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about SchoolNet.
SchoolNet is a great assessment tool that can be accessed by students through the NC Ed Cloud so that they can take a test from anywhere. On the slide, you'll see that there are some links to some additional information. There's also a link I added that takes you to a presentation that shows you the step-by-step instructions for creating an assessment and accessing data from your students. There are a lot of different sources of data that are available through SchoolNet, and there are a lot of different assessment options that are available through SchoolNet so that you can keep up with your students' progress and monitor their progress across time when you're not with them in person. Now I'm going to turn this over to Braylee with some tools about recording.
Okay, so with what we're going to share today, teacher recorded videos are an excellent way to deliver direct instruction, like Tabitha mentioned earlier. These are just a few of the tools that you can use. If you already have a platform that you're comfortable with or a program, please don't change. We just wanted to make sure you knew of the many options out there. The first is Screencastify. It's an extension that allows you to create screen capture videos. It's got some new features as well that it can record your face as well as your screen. You have some drawing tools, so some annotation can occur, and you can now edit. Another great tool is called IORAD. It allows you to create step-by-step tutorials for students and parents. It is free. The account, you set it up through your Google account. It's a very easy tool to use, especially with our younger students who may need step-by-step guidance and how to do things like log into their email or log into a Google Classroom. Another great tool is YouTube live streaming. You can use your phone or your Chromebook and simply record yourself live, share that link with your students, and they can join your class. We already talked a little bit about Google Hangouts Meet. That's where in the platform we are currently in, it will allow you to record your lessons with or without your students present. So it's a wonderful tool. And lastly, and probably most simply, you can just record from your phone and upload the video to your drive. From there, you can then put it on your YouTube channel. You can attach it in Class Dojo or Google Classroom. You can also send it out via email or via Remind. So those are just some easy ways that you can deliver direct instruction to your students over the next few weeks. Lucy's going to talk to us about what we should do when we have questions about some of this remote learning.
Hey friends, since we all are learning together, the last topic that will be on our CCS learning page will be updates, suggestions, and FAQs. Here you will find a Padlet for posting questions regarding Google Classroom and Google Meet. When you visit this collaborative space, you can add your question under the heading that applies by clicking on the plus sign. That applies to whatever heading your question will go under. So the facilitators will be monitoring this Padlet and posting responses to your questions. Barbara is going to discuss additional support that the instructional facilitators will be providing.
Wow, today we've shared lots and lots of information with you, and some of you may be overwhelmed with all that we've shared. But I want you to know, and as well as all the instructional facilitators that you've met virtually today, that we're still here to support you. We're here to help those teachers who have not set up a Google Classroom to know how to be able to do that, to walk you through anything that you need support in. We're also available to help you with the resources that we've shared. If you're not familiar with all of those, in order for you to be successful with those resources. We've also shared today about a Google Meet, but if you need additional help in setting one up, we would gladly help you with that. We're learning just as you are. So we want to help you on this e-learning and the on-learning as we go along with you. So reach out. And if you just need to keep in touch with us, we are here for you for that purpose as well. We are going to establish some hours for Google Meets that we will share with you when those times are available. But please remember, we're always available also through email and texting. So keep in touch. We're here for you. And now a word from Dr. Widener.
Dr. Widener, before you get started, I'm going to jump in because we forgot to talk about the Google Classroom. Okay. So Radina, will you click to the Google Classroom we have set up? So there is a Google Classroom that is set up that is going to be for the whole district that shares all of our resources. And this video will be placed there. The presentation will be placed there. So it has currently, once it opens, some quick tutorials for Google Drive or Google Classroom and some expectations, the DPI site that was provided, and then the guide that Dawn talked about. So to join this class, Radina's going to pop the code up on there for you, and this will then be listed as well in an email that you guys get. But just so you can see where you'll need to join so that you have access to the code. There it is, QWLFIXS. And to join that, you click on the plus sign on the main page. And take note, we've had some glitchy stuff going on with this Google Meet. It's going to happen while you guys are doing your training or talking live with your students, forgetting to unmute or not being muted and they hear everything going on in the classroom. You might have to set up some parameters and expectations and just remind students there's the chat feature where you can send a message if they're muted and you can't hear them. Just remember, it's not going to be perfect, but we're all going to get through this somehow together. So Lisa, sorry to interrupt.
No problem, Randy. One thing we need to remember is that our EC and Gen Ed teachers should ensure that good communication has been established regarding shared expectations for students. It's very important that EC and general ed teachers collaborate with each other, and it should be ongoing and regular during the design of all instructional activities and planning. We want to thank you for all you do each day for your students. Thank you for your willingness to journey into a different way of serving the students of Caldwell County. As you know, many of us are stepping out of our comfort zones by attempting to engage students through remote learning. This is certainly an opportunity for each of us to move to the next level of learning. We will do this together and support each other. Resources will be updated in the Google Classroom as they become available. Take care of yourselves and your families. Stay in touch with each other. Reach out to someone if you need assistance and support. We are in this together.